All right, what's happening, folks? Thanks for tuning in. Got some stuff to talk about today. Let's get into it. Um, so we got the news today that unemployment. Well, first off, no, I don't care about that. Unemployment claims hit 22 million last week total. So like the lowest unemployment can be, the unemployment rate can be is 15%. That's crazy. Now, Denton is a little bit lucky. I think in all of this, is my audio good? Doesn't look good. No, it's good. Um, Denton I think, can make it out of this. There's talks about reopening the economy, and I'll get into that in a sec. But I think Denton is more so going to be okay than most cities. Now, why? Because we don't have a very big economy. We don't have a lot of things. That can also be a crutch. But most of the jobs that we have right now are for like people in poverty or very just above the line. They're more or less going to be fine. I know a lot of people have probably lost their jobs, and that's hard. And I barely have mine as it is. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's two ways that can really go. One, people above poverty line in the poverty area are going to be fine, but they're not the big spenders. They're not going to get the economy going again. And a lot of people that have been in the middle area are really paying for it. So scratch that. I think Denton's is going to need some work done on it. That's for sure. But yeah, let's talk about Donald Trump's talking about reopening the economy, and Greg Abbott, our governor in Texas, is talking about reopening the economy. And I think that could be good. I think it could also be bad. There's very, very thin line on how to do it well. And I don't have faith that that's going to happen. But what could that look like? What would a good reopening look like? I don't think that doing it next month is a good idea, because we don't really know how this is going to progress. One of the last SARS viruses we had, it kind of like died down in April. The rates of infection died down in April, and then they were like kind of steady in May, but then they shot back up in June. So I don't know. I'm sure the doctors are well aware of this, but I hope that the people implementing policy are also aware of this and listening to those people. They could be, they could not be. I don't have high hopes. All I can really talk about is Denton, because that's all I'm primarily concerned about in this election. So what would a Denton reopening look like? What would a Denton, Texas reopening look like? Definitely, if we're going to reopen businesses, which we probably should soon, because this whole mess of authoritarianism is really digging into people, and it's just going to make everything worse. I would rather have people jobless than die, but then joblessness does create deaths. So it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. It really is, and I don't envy the people way up there having to make this decision right now, because they're going to get blamed either way. Because opening the economy is not going to be good. Keeping it closed is not going to be good. There's already protests happening right now in various parts of the country and even outside of the country. I heard about one in Canada, and some people got arrested for just protesting. Thank God we're in America. But yeah, there's masks. Masks are necessary. Social distancing is still necessary. It's tricky. I would want to hold out and see how June goes. Just because mid spring is always kind of a better time to not be infected by viruses, summer usually starts back up again. So I'd be wary of that. And if we even see like any bit of an uptick after we reopen the economy, I would want an incremental shutdown again. Definitely keep all the restaurant businesses delivery only. Keep doing, I think, everything that's been happening with the grocery workers, and how they're doing everything. In Denton, anyways, I've only really been to Winco, um, and they do a fine job of it. And now I heard some of the other stores are uh, only letting a few amount of people in, like a small amount of people in. I think that's a good idea. I think we should keep with that until we start to see some therapeutics and some vaccines going on. Because otherwise, I don't want to repeat of the Spanish flu. That was terrible. Cost millions of lives. Either way, this is not going to be back to normal after this. And I'm making a point not to say the C word, because I don't know what I don't have any of my videos monetized on YouTube, and I'm not going to either. But I don't know how I want other people to see it still. I don't want it to be, so I'm just gonna avoid saying it because I don't know how they feel about it. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about the main meat segment of this is talk about the infrastructure, because a lot of people talk about Denton, say fix the roads, but it's not that. It's not just as simple as just fixing the concrete. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into fixing our infrastructure that I don't think gets brought up a whole lot. I certainly haven't seen the city council bring up any of my points I'm about to elaborate on. But I saw this video on Reddit, and I would play it for you if my program would let me, but it's kind of buggy, so I'm going to try and find a new streaming service to use so I can dual record, because last time I did it, it kind of got buggy. I don't want to repeat that. But there was a video on Reddit, I think last week. It was on Bonnie Bray. It was on the corner of Bonnie Bray and West Oak. And that one's just notoriously bad for wrecks. I've heard of so many T-bones happening there. It's insane. And it's because the lights are not conducive to traffic flow. These people are coming off the highway. They're trying to go highway speeds. In the video, it's of a truck. The light fully turns green, but there's like a huge semi that just kind of rolls through it. And like nobody went, thank God. Everything was fine. But those lights there and all throughout Denton are terrible because they're timed. And a lot of these places don't even need lights. We could just have a stop sign and that'd be fine. Like if the square was just stop signs, we'd be fine. Because you're rolling through there, let's say you go through there around like 9, 10, or even later, you're just sitting at a stop sign doing what? And that's what most of Denton traffic is. You wait way too long at these stoplights and you're stalling. You're increasing the pollution just by doing that, and you're not going where you want to go. I think that's ridiculous. I think besides just making stop signs, some of these stoplights need to be sensors. Right now, it seems like most of them are timed. I see some of them have sensors, but it's not the ones that really need sensors. Definitely all across Bell needs sensors. McKinney, the West Oak, Bonnie Bray, West Hickory, damn, both Oaks and both Hickories. Why not? And goddamn, fix the end part of West Hickory when it connects to Bell after the bar section. Fix that. That's probably going to be like the first thing I go for if I'm in city council. Fix that part, because that's a long time coming, and it's so out of the ordinary. Like there's a road I forget which road it is that intersects it with the bar district. And if you go left on it, it's fine. It looks exactly like the road on the part of the road on the bar district. It's like smooth, it's fine. And it's just bumpy right after that. And I took my friend Parker to go film on there, and he was filming just me driving down it, and he just kind of held the camera there, and we looked at the footage afterwards, and it's just kind of doing that. It's ridiculous. um, yeah. Or you could just dig up the whole thing and just put some turf on it, tell people to go 10 miles an hour. But that's not, no one's going to want to buy a house there, so you can't do that, obviously. So if you can't do that, fix the road. But anyways, there's more to it than just the concrete. I just wanted to hit on that because it's been weighing on me because they're doing some service on some other road that I usually take to go to work, and now I have to go on West Hickory, which I've been avoiding the whole time. I actually take a longer route to get to work just so I can avoid that section of West Hickory. And now I take it every day. Not every day. So besides just the signal, the not signals, wow, I can't sensors on these lights. And besides the stop signs, we need stop signs instead of some of these lights. Some of these stop signs are just covered by trees, and you don't see them until you're right there. I forget which road I was on. It was a while ago, and I never really go in this part of Denton, but it was just the stop sign, you could only see the pole of it. And like you could kind of see the red through some of the leaves from a bush covering the entirety of it. And so you know, like, oh, that's a stop sign. Thank God there was like a white line at the end of the road and traffic, so I could see. Like, oh, I should probably stop. There's a red part there. Yeah, let's stop here. Denton city government needs to be responsible for that. We need to keep it trim. Make sure that people can actually see the signs. And it's not even just stop signs that I've noticed. It's other kinds of traffic signal. There's traffic signs. We should have them cut. At best, just tell people if they live by these stop signs, the trees on your property, cut around the tree so that we can see the stop signs. Otherwise, you're kind of obstructing like a public property. That's a major hazard. That's a major hazard. People, you want it to be as visible as possible, and if it's not, you could have accidents. And I'd want to put some sort of, I guess, like a signal just to let people know to be aware, especially on Bonnie Bray, because for some reason that road has like the most traffic deaths and the most accidents, like in Denton. Outside of the highway, I'm not sure if we pulled the highway into that, but as far as just regular public roads, Bonnie Bray is the worst, and I think anyone would agree with me. So what do? We make a traffic circle. That fixes it. No. We need to put some like flashing lights there, just like, hey, get ready to stop, because you're coming off the highway. And there's several lights before that, and so it's really no excuse. But we do need to make traffic lights more conducive to just free flowing traffic. Otherwise, you're just creating pollution and you're keeping people in place. Not great. And especially around like school time, like when school is actually in session, when universities and public schools all in session, everyone goes to school at the same time, and it's a circus. Especially with these timed lights, and they make no sense because you'll see like two cars go by, and you're just in a line of like 20 cars, just watching people. These two people go by. You're like, oh, that's cool. And then this next guy is coming by, then it finally turns red, so he has to stop for some reason so that these 20 cars can go now. It's insane. The traffic rules in Denton really don't make any sense. Yeah, that's kind of a major point I wanted to hit on. And infrastructure, besides just things around roads that I would want to get done, we really need to redo our electrical grid. We need to clean our water. That one's way quicker to talk about. But we need to redo our electrical grid. We're not immune to solar flares, and if a big solar flare were to happen and knock out the power grid, it would definitely knock out our power grid. It's flimsy and it's old. We need to re-update it probably every 50 years minimum. We need to make a law about that every 50 years. Start redoing it. We can't be too hooked on just like we need to save money or whatever. We need to actually invest in it too. We invest in our infrastructure, that is. uh, yeah, solar flares can happen. Every 50 years, fix it. That would be my stance on it. What else do we have here? That's about it. Also, I was in a newspaper recently, as some of you might know from Facebook and or Twitter and or Instagram. I made a post about it. You can follow me on all of those places, and be sure, if you're watching this video, to subscribe so you can get all these live stream notifications without the extra step, without having to be on social media. You can just get the notification. You'll know I'm going live. Time to talk. But I was in a newspaper recently. I was in the North Texas Daily. Interesting. I believe they're doing like a bit of a correction, I guess. Some of my answers were just like a little wackier than I actually. Not on my part. Like I gave pretty concise answers, but then they put some of my answers under the wrong question, it seems. So I kind of wanted to just talk about it. I think, let's see, 7 people got back to them. And there's probably like, I don't know, like a dozen people running. Yeah, 7 people got back to them. One of my opponents got back, and then both place 5 people got back, and then 2 of the place 2 people got back, and only one person running for mayor was able to respond. Weird. I wonder why. Had enough time. But anyways, I wanted to just kind of run through it and kind of give you my thoughts on it, because there's some wacky answers in here. And if you read it, I want you to be able to know like what I actually responded. So let me actually get my response up. I'm just going to make a screen capture so that you guys can see what I see. No reason not to. Let's see. Display capture. Okay. Oh, that's fun. I'll just do this. So I was reading it a while ago, and I noticed something funny. A lot of people are saying like we're all in this together type thing. So if you got a drink at home, take a shot every time someone says we're all in this together. You're not gonna die, but you're certainly not gonna be sober. I'll join in with my water because I don't have a beer with me or anything like that. Certainly not taking shots on a live stream. Let's see. Let's fix this. God, I'm sorry it didn't come prepared, guys. Make me a little smaller. Now you see how the magic works. Okie dokie. Let's run through this. God damn it, how does this work? Okay. That works. Okay. Cool. Now we're in business. Let me make sure. Yes. All right, so Hudspeth, he's running for mayor. Let me go through these guys' names because I don't know any of them except for the guy that I'm running against. Okay, here we go. Here we got, see, I didn't give him this picture. I don't know why they used it. From left to right, we got mayoral candidate Gerard Hudspeth. And then the next two are the at large place 5, Deborah Armentar and Rick Berea. He's got some funny answers. Then there's Paul Meltzer, who I'm running against, and then me, John Homan, and Daniel Clanton. I'm just going to skip over their answers because they're not really even interesting. All right, so the first question is, with elections postponed to the fall, what will you do with this time? I think they meant, what will you do? And so Hudspeth replies, the delay is due to COVID-19. God damn it, I wasn't going to say that. Now YouTube is going to put that funny little box. All right, it's due to this, and people are really suffering in our area, particularly from the economic consequences. I'm working to do what I can to help people through this crisis. During this time, my number one job is to help other people make it through this, both in my official capacity on the city council and personally. It's kind of just a vague, I'm a politician answer. It's not really anything of substance. Not admirable, really, I don't think. Whatever. Armentar, running for place 5, says, I will be using this time to continue my job of representing the public on the city council, which now includes fighting coronavirus and ensuring, I said it again, god damn it, and ensuring our essential workers are getting all the protections they need to do their job. I've been fighting on both fronts, but it has been a losing battle, and the wins have been far too little and too late. It's a 24/7 job in addition to work being a professor and my role as a parent and a family member. I love my job on council, but I believe in term limits and regret that the absence of a universal mail-in ballot option has extended term limits. It would be far worse, however, to deny so many voters access to and create unnecessary barriers for tens of thousands of city voters. I'm not really sure. Let's see. I'm not really sure what she means by extending term limits. Because no one running is no one up for re-election has reached their term limit yet, so they wouldn't be up for re-election. I don't know what she really meant by that. Berea writes, I have several home repairs in mind. New shingles for my roof, some landscaping and painting. Well, that's good. That's good for you. I'm glad you're getting that done. Makes no sense, but cool. Let's see, we got some chats in the chat. I have Colby says I have to wear a mask and gloves, temp checks in the mornings, or I get sent home. See, I think that's a probably good thing. And we shouldn't open the economy up without that. Jobs shouldn't be in business if they're not doing that, especially if you have people in close quarters, like I'm sure you do, Colby. I wish my job was doing that. The restaurants, because I work at a restaurant right now, and they don't do any of that. We wear masks and gloves and whatnot, but temp check I think is probably important too. Uffish Poo, are there any city policies regarding safety sign visibility? I'm not sure, but I don't think so because there's a lot of violations. Yeah, I would doubt that. And it seems kind of contrary to what you would want. And I'm sure someone's thought of this before. There's no way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. But I would like to make it a law. All right, let's get back to reading this. Paul Meltzer, who I'm running against, says, I'm really focused right now on two things: getting useful information out to Denton residents that will help them weather the emergency, and doing what I can personally to assist getting food out to people who are shut in or don't have resources. There will be time enough for campaigning Mostly I see people distressed about job and income loss and rent. They need to know to apply for unemployment as soon as possible, even if they were doing self-employed gig type work. The new stimulus package is designed to bring average working people basically up to their accustomed income level for several months. That's not true. If they could cover rent, I'm being a stickler, never mind. If they could cover rent before, they'll be able to cover rent for some time with the assistance while scoping out the next steps. I don't know how long you think some time is, but it's just $1,200. I guess if you're a family of two, it's a little better. But then that's even more expenses. It's really only for like some people that's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Anyways, I'm okay with that answer. He is doing that stuff, so I'll give him respect for that. Good job, Paul. And then they put my response for what will you do during this time? They put my response as, well, with the extra time, I will essentially have been planning this campaign for over a year and a half at that point. I'd say I'm upset it had to be like this, but I like the idea of having local elections on election day in general. And that fits the next question really well. How do you feel about the delay? Yeah, I think that our city elections should be on election day. I think that would probably increase voter turnout and increase people being aware that there even is a city election. I mean, probably not the first year or the second year, but then a couple years after that, they're going to be like, okay, city council is usually on election day now, and I usually go vote for the president or a senator or whatever. So I might as well just look up this too. I think that's probably what would happen. Some of their mind will be taken up by the presidential election or whatever other big election is happening at that time. But I think it's probably better that way. My actual response to what I will be doing with this time is, let me find the quote. I'm going to be doing live streams where I can address some concerns and hopefully be able to take questions from locals and post those videos on my YouTube and Facebook. Also going to be making more videos in general with all this extra time. My campaign can only benefit from this extra time allotted. I've spent a lot of this time personally reading about our biggest economic breakdowns, trying to see how this one will scale. And then I went on to say that this might even blow the Great Depression out of the water, but that's later. The other two answers are, I don't even know what those guys do. So let's just go on to the next question. How do you feel about the delay? And I'm really only reading what I'm reading because I think that these people are probably more important, because Hudspeth is running for mayor. That's kind of a big position. Armentar is actually in a re-election, or she's running for re-election, and then my guy is running for re-election as well, but we can't let him win because he's a corporatist. He's just kind of mediocre. So Hudspeth writes, compared to what is happening to families, businesses, and individuals, the impact on the election is consequential. Great answer. I totally agree. That's exactly what I would write. That's exactly what someone running for re-election should write. Armentar, how do you feel about the delay? My feelings are very mixed, given the unfortunate absence of an assured mail-in ballot option for everyone. I like that she keeps hammering this in. We do need a mail-in ballot option, because come November, we're still probably going to be dealing with this. The earliest estimates for any therapeutics or vaccines is 18 months. And there has been big strides in some of this stuff, but November, we're still going to be dealing with it. I don't know what our current state of living will be like, but we'll still be at risk for infection. So I like that she's hammering in on this. Currently, mail-in ballots are only an option for seniors, people with disabilities, and people planning to be out of town on election day. It would... obviously be irresponsible from both a public health perspective and a democracy perspective to hold the elections in May when people cannot safely gather in public. If we had a universal mail-in ballot option for May, that wouldn't be a problem, but right now it appears that we have a majority on City Council who does not even want to try that. Without a mail-in ballot for May, November 3rd is the best option. I suppose I am relieved that we are not making people vote in May. There's actually been some updates in that, and now we don't even know if November 3rd is the actual day we're going to be voting. That's kind of the assumed day, but there's some people in the council that are trying to make it earlier. They're trying to make it in like August. I think the mayor definitely is trying to do that. The current one, Chris Watts. I think a couple other people are too. Let's see. The place 4 guy is, I think, and place 3. I don't really remember. I know the place 3 guy's name is Jesse. That's all I remember of them. Not really memorable. And they want it to be in August, which I think would just be okay for them because they don't go for like any college kids or anything like that, or anyone else that's seasonal employee here. I think that's kind of kicking people out of the election process because people still live here that might not be here in August. Kind of shady. I think November's probably our best bet. All right, Berea, he writes, I think of it as similar to the recent construction on the roads. You take the detour and stay out. Your presence is not helpful or welcome during the repairs. I don't really know what he means by this. I assume that he means that he just wants to stay out of the picture. I don't really know what that means. What a poet. Meltzer writes, it was simply the right thing to do in the absence of a safe way for voters to participate. I was certainly geared up and ready to engage. We've made many strides on homelessness, green space, protection, and gas well setbacks. Not really relevant. Many Denton residents who care about voting their values don't realize how much influence they can have at a local level and how the progress that has been made could easily be erased in one election. There will be time for all of that later. He keeps making a stink about how he doesn't think November 3rd elections would increase voter turnout. And he's got a right to think that, and he may even have a point. But the guy didn't even do his research. Someone commented, like, do we even know what the voter participation rate change, like how that changes if we have it in May versus on election day? He's like, no, we don't. I've never heard of that. So I don't know. He posted about it several times, and I disagree. Call that a point of difference. They wrote for me, yeah. Add the last answer I made to this. It seems either silly or shady to have them at the end of spring when people aren't as focused on campaigns. I already kind of said that, but I believe it. I think that November 3rd, the general election day, it's November 3rd this year, but general election day should just be the day for all of the elections. Unless we're doing like a democracy thing and just voting on a bill. I don't know. So how will campaign operations be affected? I enjoy campaigning and putting my views of lower taxes, more effective government for the taxes we pay, and allowing individuals and business owners to achieve their life's dreams. But now is not the time. Here he calls for unity, blah, blah, blah. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps type thing. Armentar says, my campaign operations are suspended. Berea said, I will contact supporters from time to time so they don't forget me. That makes me laugh. It's adorable. He's a poet. Nelser writes, mostly we have to do the same things we would have been doing otherwise, getting our message out about working, keep making Denton better, not just bigger, vapid input, getting in front of the public as much as possible. if we wind up having the elections at the same time as the general elections for president and so on, which is currently the approved date, we're going to have to reach a much bigger electorate, which just makes those tactics with broader reach more important. Of course, the main thing that will be different will be if we're still social distancing at that point. That's a different world when you think about knocking on doors, meeting in homes, public forums, and so on. So yeah, he's basically saying it's going to be different. And it is. It's going to be. And he's right, we'll have to appeal to a different electorate too, because it's not just going to be the people of Ropes and Ranch that are voting and then like a handful in each neighborhood. It's not going to be just them. It's going to be a lot more. We had something like, I think I've seen like a 50% voter turnout rate in Denton for presidential elections, especially for 2016. I think that was the case. But we'll see. And I mean, most people just kind of like fill in cool names at that point. He's kind of got a leg up on me. My name's kind of cool, but his has got a Z in it. So many people just vote for cool names. I've done that probably when I first started voting. What a dumb thing. I should have just left it empty. My campaign can only, so this is me. My campaign can only benefit from the extra time allotted. Spent a lot of this time personally. See, that's a fine answer. My campaign can only benefit because I think the people that I'm trying to reach are actually the people that would vote in like a general election. Yeah, I don't really appeal to the Ropes and Ranch type people, and they don't really appeal to me. I appeal to more like, I would think I would appeal to people that are more out of the establishment, even against the establishment like I am. What we've got going on right now is just a bunch of status quo. I don't really jive with that. We definitely need change. All right, where are we? Totally lost my train of thought. This page is so terrible to move through. What words do you have for Denton residents? Hudspeth says, get your cups ready. We are all in this together. Take a shot. It's water. Never in the history of humanity have all humans faced the same threat at the same time. World wars. When I have spoken Spanish flu. When I have spoken to older folks about what they went through in the Great Depression, that too. And in World War II, I am so proud of how they persevered during these crises. And they did it to give us what we have today. He's just trying to be like inspiring, I guess. It wasn't really inspiring. I'm just going to keep going. Armentar says, my words to Denton residents are to please write to City Council and the governor to say that the August election date, that Denton Mayor Watts, council members Hudspeth, Davis, and Ryan, that's who I was talking about. Davis and Jesse Davis and something Ryan. Okay, that's who I was talking about. She knows. They're trying to push for August. Asking the governor permission would deny tens of thousands of underrepresented Denton voter equal access that only a November 3rd election date is acceptable to you. I don't think it would be tens of thousands. There's hardly tens of thousands of people that would even vote. We don't have a great voter participation rate, especially in city elections. I think the biggest number I've seen recently was just over 2,000 people voting out of a city of 130,000. It's pretty pathetic. Tell them, us, the city council, that you are demanding mail-in ballots for all voters too, because it is quite likely that the threat of coronavirus will still be here in November and that it will be safer for people to stay at home. At the very least, we need to be proactively prepared for it. I like what she's doing here. She's using this to take a stand. That's pretty smart, actually. Um, I think I kind of do that. But she hammers it in. I mean, you see these mail-in ballot get mentioned several times, and that's gonna really ring with the voter, be a worm in their brain. I respect that. Berea writes, I actually don't even care. He just kind of goes on a rant against the mainstream media. Uh, Meltzer writes, "We'll get through this together. Take a shot. It's water. There are resources for you, so stay calm, sign up, and find ways to stay connected to other." God damn it. Zoom in. People. Stay connected to other people, get exercise, let's slow the spread, and please leave some toilet paper for the next person. Ha 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 ha. Hashtag relatable. Hashtag resistance and already been said. Jesus Christ. This is art. So this is me. This is already looking like it could compare with the Great Depression, if not blow it out of the water. There's more time for other people to realize our city government had no foresight and continued to believe that Denton was impenetrable, spending tax money on petty things like the arts projects and events. It's clear the status quo isn't working, and then the ... is where I said, like I mentioned in my last video I made called the one about being recession proof. There was a whole I guess it was a research paper, barely, by some. They seemed to be a company that was promoting like where to buy houses, like good information if you want to buy houses kind of website. And they were saying like which cities are the most recession proof, and Denton was number 4. So watch that video on my channel. It's kind of entertaining and it's informational. And I'm basically saying the same things that I've already said. You know, we need job diversity and we need saving and investment on our infrastructure. But it's a little more detailed. So after that ... we need foresight in government to address issues before they happen, like what if there's a solar flare and our flimsy power grid is knocked out? Or what if a whole job sector gets laid off? Or what will we do if there's a major economic depression? Like I addressed in my video. Before all this even started, I had already addressed it. So also, we need to promote better job diversity in our city. Around 40% of our economy's jobs lay in just 3 industries, education and health services being one, retail, and food services. If we think about the job diversity like legs on a table, knocking out a couple when there's 100 strong legs may make the table wobble, but if you knock out 40% or more of the legs, that table might fall over. And Denton's not just going to wobble. And it's sad to see our taxes squandered like that. I think it's time for change here, and a time for a shift into long-term investments and politicians that actually know how to make an economy work. As an economist, I think I'd do our city proud. I can just kind of call myself that. I don't care. I'm going to read these last 2 because you're going to take another shot. Homan says, "Keep you eye on the prize and never let a crisis go to waste in a good way. It becomes okay. It becomes more clear every day how crucial community and local resiliency are. My dad taught me to do my best, and that's all we can do." I'm glad your dad taught you that, dude. Clanton says, "As for the crisis we are in now, I would say to listen to your community leaders and health officials. Keep yourself and your family safe. I know people keep saying this, but I will say it again. We are in this together. Take a shot. It's water." As for the election, the next council will have a lot of work to do. Besides the number of concerns already facing our community, there will need to be new policies and some will need to be revamped. I am ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work. So basically what you can see, I'm going to switch my video over so you can just see me now. Basically what you can see from all of these responses is that no one has a clue what they're talking about. Nothing is very policy oriented. It's all just kind of vapid. This is how I feel about it. You know, this is how I feel. It's all vapid and it's all already been said. And I'm not saying like we need infrastructure investment and savings is genuinely amazing or anything like that, or new or anything novel, if you will. But it's something that the city government doesn't do. And it's actually a policy and a mindset that we can follow rather than we're in this together or whatever. Um, Deb's right. We need mail in ballots. So talk to your current council people about that. Tell them you want that. Tell them you want a November 3rd election because that's probably going to increase voter turnout rates, and it's going to be at a time when people are actually caring about the elections. If we have it in August, people are just going to be still worrying about the uh, the virus. I've already said it. The coronavirus, whatever. They're still going to be worrying about the coronavirus, and they're not going to vote. We're probably going to get a less people voting than ever this year. Just because people are not even going to know, like, how do I get a mail-in ballot? How would I How do I do this? And they're just not going to do it because it's complicated. They can't just go and vote and just put some dots in. That's going to be the case, but we should have it available to people if they so feel that they need change and that they need to actually express their God-given right to vote. So talk to your people about that. Talk to your council people. I'll have a link in the description after this video is not live, but published rather, where you can go talk to them. Just send them like a message saying like, I want mail-in ballots and I want the election to be November 3rd. Say it in an old-timey way too, like a 1920s sort of way, just so that they understand the gravity of the situation. But that's about it. That's all I gotta talk about. The paper, I will say, is offering some corrections with their digital re-release. So I'm pretty happy about that. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, these answers kind of don't make sense with what I actually said. And like, oh, sorry, we'll fix it for you. So that's cool. I respect that. I respect that journalistic integrity, especially in a time right now when there's not a lot of it, especially about just the mainstream. There's actually quite a few people that are actually doing good journalistic work, and I appreciate every single one of you. But that's it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for the questions and the comments. I love you guys. Stay safe. Wash your produce. It's water. Have fun.